Hi there and welcome to the Met Office forecast for the week ahead. A mild, murky and very moist week of weather to come, particularly as we start things off. Atlantic low pressure in charge. This low containing the remnants from ex-Hurricane Melissa. All that means is even more moisture, even more rain than normal, with a very humid southwesterly airflow directing spells of wet weather in and focusing that rainfall onto western hills. Now we start off Tuesday with that southwesterly wind, coastal gales around exposed western coasts and a very mild feel because of the wind direction. So temperatures in many places starting the day in the teens. But with that wet weather in the west, it's not going to feel very pleasant. Initially, it's parts of Cumbria where we see the heaviest rain, yellow warning in force, risk of localised flooding, as well as parts of Wales. But later in the day, the attention shifts to southwestern parts of the country. And again, wettest over hills, Dartmoor, Exmoor, Brecon Beacon seeing 50 millimetres or a tad more. The rain a bit more sporadic further east and further north, more showery in nature, and there'll even be some glimmers of sunshine coming through for parts of Northern Ireland and northern Scotland. Temperatures across the board, though, above average for the time of year, 15 to 16 in the south, 13 Celsius typically further north. Again, showery rains start things off on Wednesday across many parts of England and Wales. Scotland and Northern Ireland, a brighter start, mostly dry, particularly sunny for northern Scotland. But it's towards the south and the southwest, as again where we see the wettest weather first thing, tending to shift further north as the day progresses. But wherever you are, it is going to be a mild day, 16 or 17 Celsius. Now, Bonfire Day starts off with low pressure towards the southwest. The isobar is not as closely packed as Monday and Tuesday, so not quite as windy, but it's still going to be a mild airflow with the winds coming from the south and southwest. And we start off Wednesday with some wet weather in the south, but erratically and slowly those outbreaks of rain push further north, so that by bonfire evening, if you do have plans outdoors, well, there will be some showery rain around, but it's not going to be quite as wet in many places as Monday and Tuesday. Some uncertainty about exactly where these outbreaks of rain will occur. It's a very erratic situation where we've got these outbreaks of showery rain just migrating further north as the day progresses. So it's northern and western parts of the UK where we like to see the wettest weather, but some decent gaps developing in the rainfall. Many areas staying cloudy, and wherever you are, it is going to be very mild with temperatures even at 10 p.m. That's 15 Celsius, for example, in the south, 11 or 12 further north. So damp in places, but not a washout everywhere. The rain will be on and off, and there'll be some decent drier interludes breaking out in places as well, particularly towards the southeast. Into Thursday, we've got outbreaks of rain clearing the north of Scotland first thing, and then for many it is a drier day, not completely without rainfall. There are some showery outbreaks of rain returning again, particularly across western parts of the country, some heavy downpours, but in between at least some brighter spells developing as well. And once again, it is a mild afternoon, 16 or 17 in the south, 14 or 15 further north. Once again, increasingly breezy towards the west. Now, as we say goodbye to one area of low pressure on Thursday, another one turns up, bringing another weather front in from the west, an active feature, some heavy rain crossing the country from west to east throughout Friday. But what we noticed by this stage is that we shift from southwesterlies to westerlies, and that means these fronts will push across a little quicker with some decent-sized gaps in between systems. So later in the week, the spells of rain not as long-lasting, not as persistent, and a better chance of drier interludes in between the unsettled weather. We start Friday with some bright skies in the east. Then we've got this front moving its way eastwards through the day. Some wet weather, particularly across central southern England into the Midlands by the afternoon, but brighter skies replacing it into the west. Showery rain moving through Scotland and Northern Ireland at this time. A little less mild, 14 or 15 Celsius. Then into the weekend, as that moves through, we do have a ridge of high pressure ahead of the next weather front. So Saturday, the best day, looks likely to be drier and brighter for many. Most places escaping with a fine day of weather before this low turns up into Sunday, bringing another spell of rain and wind. So some very wet weather about this week, a number of yellow warnings in force. Keep up to date on those via the Met Office webpage. Also, it's going to be mild through the week before we see that shift in wind direction into the weekend.